Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Isabel and this is my library. In today's video, I bring you the Get to Know My Tastes tag. So I'd like to start today's video by thanking Michelle from Literary Me for tagging me in today's video. I thought this tag was pretty interesting as it helps me walk through a series of prompts that tell you a little bit more about my reading tastes and who I am as a reader and how and why I rate the things the way that I do. And so I figured today would be a nice, relaxing kind of video where I get to just sit and talk to you and share some of my answers with you. So I have my questions pulled up here on my iPad. So I'll go ahead and start with question number 1, which is, how do you rate books? Give a quick rundown of how you do your star ratings, or if you don't use star ratings, how do you evaluate books? So I do use star ratings, and I believe my star ratings have evolved a little bit throughout the years. I feel like early on in my journey as a reader who would actually rate books for Goodreads or various other apps or for my reading journal, I feel like I was very quick to um, give 5-star ratings. I feel like at the start of that, I was impressed by everything. I was loving everything I was reading. My expectations were not as high. And it wasn't until I actually started taking my job of reviewing books a little more seriously that I started becoming a more discerning kind of rater, for lack of a better word. And so I'll start you by letting you know I do use a regular 5-star rating system as you would find on Goodreads. And I do use half-star ratings. I find that I don't normally gravitate toward half-star ratings, but I've been using, I think, more of them lately. But in my mind, when I'm trying to rate a book, I still kind of think of a whole book kind of rating. That's a whole number. So yeah, so basically the way it works is a 5-star book has to feel like a 5-star book for me. It has to be a book that I'm finding addictive, that I don't want to put down, that has a lot of my favorite tropes or topics or themes. Um, it has to have good pacing. Um, yeah, and a 5-star book is kind of like a favorite kind of book. Like it has to be a book that I can't think of anything that the author could have done to make it better. Those tend to be my 5-star ratings. Again, I used to give a lot more 5-star ratings, I feel, back in the day. Now they don't come as often, I feel, not as often as I would want them to come. But I still manage, I think, to get 1 or 2 5-star ratings a month, which I think is pretty impressive. But I'm finding that the types of books that I am giving 5-star ratings are differing a little bit. And I guess maybe I'll talk about that in another question or in another video. But yeah, so 5-star is favorite, like a favorite book. Something I'll remember for like a long time. 4-star is a good book. It's a pretty solid book. There's usually something missing in that 4-star book that didn't make it the 5-star. It'll be like a small thing, a stylistic thing, or something I wasn't happy with, the resolution or the ending or something. But a 4-star is a really good book. A 3-star book for me is not great. I know 3-star is satisfactory, and a lot of people think a 3-star rating is good, is average, right? I still feel a lot of disappointment with 3-star books. Like if I rate something 3 stars, I was disappointed. I don't want to make a habit of only reading 3-star books. Like that's not fun. So I know for a lot of people, a 3-star rating is a good thing, not for me. Once I've given something a 3-star, it means I probably won't recommend it openly to others. I'll have some reservations about recommending it. 2-star book is a bad book. Like that was not a good book. If I give a 2-star rating, I'm not offended, but I really didn't like it. I think it's not a good book. It's a bad book. Like if it would have been an okay book or a good book, it would be the 3-star. And lastly, the 1-star rating, I hold this for very, very specific cases. I don't enjoy giving a 1-star rating ever. And if I do, it's either something offensive. I found something offensive in the writing. It was poorly written, like there was just something off about it or something wrong. or it was a letdown, like a very big letdown or disappointment. I think I've only had maybe two one-star ratings this year so far. So I don't really do give out one-star ratings very often, but they are normally something that I found to be very troublesome. And yeah, that's basically how I rate my books. So question number 2, how do you approach reviewing books? What's your review style? Are you analytical, emotional, casual, or structured? And this is a very nuanced question. I'll start by saying it depends on the type of book. If we are talking about like a literary merit book, like a classic, I clearly have a certain set of standards for how I rate it. I'm looking for thematic issues that are present or prevalent, the ability for the book to make social commentary on the human experience, to elevate itself in its themes beyond the book itself, its ability to live outside of the confinements of the book itself, right? So I'm looking for something grand. However, when I'm reading other things, I think for the most part, I'm pretty much looking for enjoyment, entertainment. I want to have fun when I'm reading. I want to be entertained. I want to be inspired. I want to be shocked. I want to be amused. I want to be moved and feel something. So if a book is able to do any of those things, I like that. And normally I would review it or approach it from what am I gaining from this? I know all books are not created equal. I do read a variety of different genres, which I think I'll talk about later in another question. So I don't want to dive too much into it. But I guess I'm a little bit of everything. If I'm reading a classic, I am analytical. If I'm reading like a romance or a horror, I'm looking for that emotional, right? Am I being moved emotionally by this book? Um, I'd say it's casual, but there are some elements of structure. I know that's a little bit let's show some duality or dichotomy there, right? But it depends greatly on the actual book. My expectations are not the same, I guess is what I want to say. If I am reading like a short horror novella by an indie author, as if I am reading Tess de Uberville or something, right? Like my expectations vary based on the book itself, and as I think it should, right? So yeah, that's pretty much my approach to reviewing books. Number 3, what's the book that made you a reader? Whether it was your first favorite or the one that got you hooked, what book started it all? I'm going to mention a couple. I honestly can't just narrow this down to one. So I'll go ahead and tell you about a couple of those that I have clear memories of. I'll start by saying I've been a reader my whole life. My mom would read to me when I was a little girl, and I grew up surrounded by books. I had all types of books and bookshelves in my room. So I always grew up to be a reader. Once I started school, the first book I think that made like an impression on me was probably one of the Shel Silverstein books, Light in the Attic or Where the Sidewalk Ends. These books were particularly meaningful to me. I remember my second grade teacher, Miss McTabby, sharing these books with us, and after lunch, she would read us various poems from these collections, and it was my favorite part of like the day. And I remember whenever we would go to the library, I would rush to see if I could check one of them out. And then eventually, my mom bought me like the whole set, and I had all of them, and I still have them. They're in my mom's house. I don't have them here with me, and I've been meaning to bring them simply because I think I'm due for a reread, and I absolutely adored those. As I got a little bit older, I think I started picking up the Babysitters Club. Those were such a staple for me growing up. I was obsessed with the babysitters. I wanted to be one. I wanted to have my own babysitting service, and I loved everything about that world of the Babysitters Club. So those were really meaningful to me. And then after that, I started kind of liking horror books, and I remember books like Wait Till Helen Comes being like one of my favorites, and I used to walk around school with it, and I'd take it to lunch with me, and I just couldn't get enough. And yeah, those were basically some of those staples. The Choose Your Own Adventure books also landed around that same time too, and I'm talking about maybe second grade or third grade, more or less. And I would check those out from my local public library. My mom would take me, and those would be the first ones that I would try checking out. So those were all part of my love for reading and my journey as a reader, and what kind of made me fall in love with books. Number 4, do you have a genre niche? Are there certain genres you gravitate toward, or do you read widely across genres? This can be answered a few ways. So I have my preferred genres, but I think they're kind of widely spread. I love classics, literary fiction and classics, and all the canonical works that I grew up loving and that were a part of my degree in English and books that I've taught. So I have a big love for the classics and literary merit books. I also really enjoy thrillers. I really also enjoy horror and various subgenres, obviously. I love a good mystery. I also enjoy sci fi. I do enjoy sci fi, although I don't read it as often as I would like. Yeah, that's pretty much the genres I feel. I also enjoy poetry. It doesn't have to be literary merit poetry or classical poetry, but I love modern poetry. There are just certain genres that I really don't read much of. Um, but I still read some of them. I still read some romance, even though it's not my go to niche genre, as the question is asking. I also have read some fantasy, and I do read some fantasy, even though it's not my go to genre. So I think I read pretty widely. I also love memoirs. I have a thing for memoirs that I really enjoy. I haven't read one in a few months, but I love memoirs, celebrity memoirs, or just particularly impactful memoirs. I really enjoy those. And yeah, there's just very, very few, I think, genres that I don't enjoy. And even then, if it's highly recommended or whatnot, I'll still give it a shot. Question number 5. Do you prefer plot driven or character driven stories? This can be true both ways. So I normally prefer a character driven narrative, something with a solid, interesting character that I want to know more of. But I also do enjoy, especially fluffier books or books that are not as maybe well written or whatnot, but I do enjoy highly entertaining plots. That's something that I also like. But if I had to choose just one, I would definitely prefer reading about significant characters or something that is character based or character driven, even if it lacks in the plot. Not a lot of stuff has to happen in order for me to be interested in a book. If we have a very interesting narrative voice, or if we are in an interesting narrative headspace. Question number 6. What's a book you love so much that you don't care if others don't like it? What's the one book you love enough for everyone? I guess I'd have to mention my favorite book of all time, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I believe this is a pretty well loved book, though, because the question is saying that I have enough love for it for everyone. Yeah, that would be my answer to that, because it is my favorite book of all time. Although Rebecca is a pretty well loved, I think, book. But that's got to definitely be my favorite book. And if others don't like it, I mean, that's okay. You know, I'm I'm understanding that reading is a personal thing. We all have our preferences, as you know, as we do about everything in life, food and favorite colors and what we do for fun. So I don't expect everyone who reads Rebecca to love it. I just think Rebecca is one of those classics or books of literary merit that has so many different moving parts that it would appeal to anyone. If you are a lover of beautiful language, you would like it. If you are a lover of Gothic literature, you would love it. If you like murder mysteries, you would love it. If you like a good villain story, you would love it. If you like to root for an underdog, you would like it. And there's just so much. I feel like it's so layered that most people who read it would love it. But if others didn't love it, I would still um, scream to the world my love for Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca. So, next, 7. What's a book you love so much that if someone doesn't like it, you know your reading tastes don't align? I could use the same answer, right, that I just talked about, Rebecca, but I don't really look to see if my reading tastes align to people based on one book that we don't necessarily see eye to eye. It's mostly, oh, you read just romantasy. I don't really read that, so our reading tastes might not align. Or you're a historical fiction girly and that's all you read. I don't really enjoy that. Maybe our reading tastes don't align. But I think it's kind of limiting to say that based on just one book, um, reading tastes might not align. And it's still fine, even if our reading tastes don't all align. I don't think that's a big deal. But I don't think I would assume that my reading tastes don't align with someone just because of one reading experience. I think many times we read books at the wrong times. I'm a firm believer of that. I think sometimes we'll read a book and we weren't ready for the book, or the book wasn't ready for us. It was just not the right time. And then we'll go back and revisit, and that can change everything. And it could be a book that now all of a sudden we enjoy or we love. And we know books don't change, but we do as people. So that's why, like, I'm also a proponent of rereading favorites, because I feel like you're constantly like learning more about yourself and experiencing the book in different stages. And I think that's something very unique about literature, the impact that the reader has on the book, and how it's like this relationship between you, the book, and the author, right? So, yeah. Question number 8. What's in your trash pocket? What books, tropes, or themes that you know are bad, but you love them anyway? I wouldn't say like there's anything that's bad, right? Like, but probably if I had to pick a trash pocket, right, for lack of a better word, I'd probably say like extreme horror or like splatterpunk books or stuff like that that I do enjoy a lot of. I enjoy reading a lot of extreme horror books. Some people might think that those are bad, or that they're not good quality, or it's bad writing. And, sure, maybe you feel that way, but I do find them incredibly entertaining. I think that's what books should be doing. Like, a book should entertain you, should make you feel something. You should be able to connect to it. And if a book is doing all of that, how bad, right, can it be? So if I had to pick one, it would probably be that category. Number 9, do you have any deal breakers in books? Something that if it's present immediately turns you off? I think the only one thing I can think of is animal abuse or animal cruelty or deaths of animals in books. I am not a fan of that. I do not enjoy books that have this. As a matter of fact, if I start to worry that something might happen to an animal when I'm reading, I'm not happy. Like, I have been known to Google, does the dog die at the end? I have been known to do that, because I don't enjoy that, and that's pretty much the only thing I think that's kind of like a deal breaker for me. I can read almost anything else. I think there's nothing really that would necessarily be a deal breaker. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. So, number 10, what's a strong opinion you have about a book released in the last year, whether it's overrated, underrated, or just a take you need to share? Probably the book We Used to Live Here. I've seen some mixed opinions on it, and I think it's one of the greatest horror books, haunted house books, that I've read in a long time. And I think it's a very popular book, but a lot of people don't like it or haven't said the best things of it. And I do have a strong opinion that that's one of the best books I've read in a long time. I thought it was convoluted and complicated and kind of difficult to follow, but I loved what it was doing, and I thought it was so good. And although very popular when it first came out, I kind of feel like people aren't talking about it as much, and it's only been within this last year that that came out. So I'm wondering if people have stopped reading it or what it is. But I think it's a really, really strong book. I really, really love that book. Question 11. What do you look for in writing? What makes a book stand out to you? Is it prose, style, themes, voice, structure, or something else? It's everything. It's all of the above, but not necessarily happening at the same time. For example, an extreme horror book, an indie horror book, novella, my expectations for character development or for thematic connections or uh, commentary on the human experience, I don't expect that from that book. If I get it, that's a wonderful benefit. But what I'm looking for from an extreme horror book or whatnot is just entertainment. It's to be scared, it's to be grossed out, or it's to feel something like that. But I'm not looking for this elevated, high quality writing. I'm just not. Like, I know what that book is, and I understand that, and I'm going to appreciate the book for that. However, if I'm reading like a classic, then clearly I'm looking for those beautiful rhetorical devices, the beautiful imagery, the layered commentary, the structure of the narrative and the pacing. And I'm looking for all these other things. Maybe I'm not looking for shock value or entertainment or anything else, but I'm looking to be moved by the words and the images. And so I'd say I care about all of that. That's what I look for in all kinds of writing, but just not in one place. Not all of it in the same place. I appreciate what all these different types of books contribute or bring to the table or add, and I'm fine with not having all of those present in one thing. Question number 12. How do you decide what to read next? Do you plan ahead? Are you a mood reader? Do you follow external factors? So, as I build my TBRs with you, as you have seen me do quite a few videos on this, or as you've seen my videos with my journaling, there's many different reasons why books land on my TBR. So what I do is whatever challenges, buddy reads, whatever comes out of my TBR, whatever games I'm trying to complete, um, whatever groups that I'm a part of are choosing as their February book or January book or March book, I put all of that in a pile for the month, right? And from that pile, I do a lot of mood reading. Whatever I'm in the mood for in a particular moment, I'll go ahead and pick up. And sometimes that's why my TBRs are pretty flexible and they're just kind of rotating. So I these things came into my TBR pile March. I might get to them in March, I might not. I might get to them in 2 months. And they're just the TBR pile keeps growing, right? And I'm still picking and choosing. That is something that I do, which is partly the reason why I'm always reading multiple books at once. And I know this might be crazy for some of you, and I'm actually curious, and I'd love to know how many of you read one book at a time. I'm very curious about this. How many of you just read one book at a time, or how many of you read various books at once? I'd love to know that. But I used to be a one book at a time kind of girl in my life, and then I started to see that's not what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to pick up a book and read what I wanted to read when I wanted to read it. I also saw that I couldn't always read what I wanted to read when I wanted to read it. So, for example, if I had like a physical book and I didn't have the audiobook, or I didn't there were just times now that I was going to do something where I couldn't physically read with my eyes. I was going to go driving, I was going to go for a walk, I was going to go shower, I was going to go fold laundry, and I wanted to read, but I couldn't read with my eyes. So then I'd start an audiobook, and then I would be reading my audiobook as I was doing that, and then that became my audiobook. But then at times I'll get so hooked on my audiobook that now I have to finish it. So then I grab my audiobook physically or on Libby or on my Kindle, and I continue reading my audiobook because I just can't get enough of it. And so I'm constantly doing a lot of that. I also have my Kindle reads, which are usually saved for like nighttime reads because I like reading my Kindle in bed, obviously because it's more comfortable and I have the lights and so on and so forth. But I basically just make sure that I read whatever I'm reading and whatever I want to read at that moment. I never force myself to read something at a particular moment in time if I don't want to. So a lot of times I find that I'll have like a manga going at one moment, and I'll also have like one thriller or one mystery book going, and then I might have like a nonfiction book that I'm also working on, or an anthology of short stories. Or what I don't do is have two thrillers that I'm working on at the same time. I do not do that. I don't do two of the same kind of book because I find it a little bit confusing and stuff like that. But basically, that's how it makes sense to me in my head, you know. And I think it also helps me finish books quicker. I mean, to be honest, sometimes I freak out because it'll be a week and I haven't finished a book. And I'm like, how have I not finished a book this week? Like, what's going on with me? But I'm also reading five things at once. And then I'll finish like five books in the next week. And it's like, okay. And for some reason I can handle it. I don't get confused. I don't, I, what I, the worst offense is that I'm gravitating more toward one of the books than the others. And then I'll just kind of prioritize that one, which is another reason why some books take me a longer time to read, and I'm okay with that. I think ultimately it's okay to pace yourself, and to read what you want to read when you want to read it. You know, I really think that's important. 13. Where do you get inspiration for your booktube content? What sparks your video ideas? Other creators, trends, personal reading experiences? Yes to all of that. um if I see someone doing a certain type of video that I find inspiring, I want to maybe do my own rendition of that or my own take on that. I love that. Sometimes if I'm really excited about a book, I want to do content revolving around that. A lot of times I share ideas with my husband. Like he's really creative, and he gives me a lot of like cool ideas, like, hey, you should do a video about this. A lot of times it'll be a question or something that someone will ask me, and then I'm like, oh, I think I want to do something with this. So a while back, which I've been meaning to do, this is a video that I've been wanting to work on, but somebody in my bio tag, I think it was, I mentioned that I love video games, and this person commented that they were video game fans and also reading fans. So I've been working on a video idea that I want to do pairing. If you liked this video game, this book might work for you, and so on and so forth. So I kind of get inspired based on what people comment and what questions they ask me, and my unique like tastes that I can kind of bring together. I'm also a big like horror movie fan, so a lot of times I'll watch a horror movie and that makes me think of like a book or whatnot. So I've been planning content that I want to do, like, oh, if you liked this movie, maybe you might want to read these books, which kind of have a similar theme or whatnot. So I think everything around me inspires these ideas for content or for videos. I just find sometimes they're hard to carry out. Like the idea's there in my head, but it's difficult sometimes to carry it out. But the answer is pretty much like everywhere. I find that inspiration everywhere. 14 is, if you could make any book go viral right now, what would it be? A book you think deserves more attention and why? At the risk of sounding, um, repetitive, if you will, I'd probably want to say like a classic of some sort. So I'd want Rebecca to go viral, or I would want Jane Eyre to go viral, simply because I think any classic that has stood the test of time and um, has had such an impact should be read universally, right, by a lot of people. So I think it would have to be like some sort of literary merit book that I would want to go viral, which honestly happens. I remember a couple years back teaching Carmilla, and my students really didn't know Carmilla or had never heard of Carmilla. And I want to say, as of the last like 4 or 5 years, like all my students, when I pitch Carmilla, or that we're gonna offer Carmilla as a reading option in the class or whatnot, they're so excited because Carmilla has kind of, gone viral, and everyone knows the story of Carmilla online. And so, yeah, I think if classics can do that, I'm happy, because I think so many books have um, these universal ideas that connect everyone. And I think if they go viral, they can have like a broader reach, and more people would discover the wonders of Rebecca or Jane Eyre or books of that nature. And 15 is some booktubers with similar reading taste as mine, and for me to tag them so that they can do this tag as well. And so, of course, I will be tagging quite a few people down there. Again, thank you, Michelle. I'll make sure I link her channel down below so you can check her out. She's the one who tagged me in this video. And I will tag quite a few people, but as always, if you are watching this video tag, first, thank you for watching. And second of all, if you feel inspired to do it and you want to do the tag, consider yourself tagged. This is your open invitation to do the tag. And I'd love for you to tag me in your tags so that I can watch it. Whenever you guys do that, I watch your videos, and I love it. I'd love to hear your responses, and I hope you got to know a little bit more of my reading tastes through this video tag. I have done a two-part series on my channel where I talk about things that I love in books, my favorite tropes in books, or my favorite things to read about. And I'll go ahead and link those down below so you can watch those if you would like to know more about the things I love reading in books, and with some samples of those books. I'll include those down below so you can check them out if you would like to. And this pretty much wraps up the get to know my taste tag. And thank you guys so much for watching this video, for watching my videos. Please consider liking it, subscribe to my channel. I'd love to be able to continue connecting with you through here. And yeah, let's talk in the comments down below. What are some of, if you're not doing the tag, what are some of the answers that resonated with you? Do we share some similar interests? Just let me know. And I think that's all for me for today. So thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.